shut down Cop City.
Clarity, right? That's important. I'm super excited to introduce our next speaker, Gary Spencer from the Legal Defense Fund, who's going to walk us a little bit through the process and timeline. And so yes, Gary, please join us. And I promise we're not going to go to law school.
Good morning. I'm Gary Spencer from the Legal Defense Fund, and we are going to start the process of collecting more than 75,000 signatures. Because we believe we're going to start the process of collecting more than 75,000 signatures because we want the will of the people to be heard. We are not going to be intimidated by intransigent public officials who have attempted to intimidate people, who will arrest folks. We will not be intimidated. And so we're going to take our fight to the ballot box, and we believe we will win. Thank you.
There's no world where our community won't use all of the tools that are available to us to build the Atlanta that we feel like our families deserve. And so there is protest because there are a number of things that we have access to in the democratic process and a referendum is coming. We're to see y'all in November. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing Scarlett from the Working Families Party.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Scarlett Mayoralgo. That's Scarlett with two T's, M-A-Y-E-R-A-L-G-O. I'm here representing Georgia Working Families Power. Georgia Working Families Power is an advocacy organization that works to elect progressive champions of the ballot and hold them to working families platform. Essentially, we're bold in our effort to make democracy work for the many and not the few that we see currently dominating this country. So that without sex, it's actually unfortunate that we're here today. I, along with hundreds of other Atlantans, were in City Hall until the early hours of the morning on Monday. I guess that's actually Monday. And we were at City Hall hoping that we could appeal to the people that we elected to represent us. I want to be very clear that we hired them to do this job, and they failed us. Overwhelmingly, the Atlantans that we canvassed do not want policy. Many of them are not aware of the plan site at all. That should concern you. When they do know, when they find out about Pop City, they are nervous and they are anxious. And they are right to be distrustful of their elected officials and their children. We already know that the Atlanta watershed is deeply polluted, specifically in South Platte. And more than that, partially due to neglect. We know that the construction will exacerbate the current pollution that we are aware of. And as the trees go, the water, the soil, the integrity of the land goes. And I want to be very clear that the children of Atlanta deserve better than this. The children of Thomasville Heights Elementary, the children of McNair High School deserve better than this. Not only will they inherit this legacy, they will inherit this land. What are we leaving our children? We also know that police militarization is a real threat to our Black communities. Black Atlantans are 14 times more likely than white Atlantans to be arrested in our city. That should be a chilling fact. Our previous canvassing efforts again have shown that Atlantans don't want Cop City. They want policing alternatives and diversion. They want healthcare facilities in their community that are accessible. And they want mental health and addiction services. Now we're taking it to the people. We're taking it to the ballot so that we can do what our electeds refuse to do, which is vote down Cop City. So here we are. We're announcing a launch of a robust canvassing operation. We're hitting the pavement. We're knocking doors. And don't be surprised when you see us in your neighborhood, at your block party, at your music festival, activating Atlantans around this issue. So we hope that, in conclusion, the council and the elected leadership of the city understand and receive this as a sign that we will do whatever we need to do to make sure the will of the people direction in which Atlanta is going. As we move forward, we will be sure to elect people that understand that the government is meant to act in accordance with the people and not the elite few and the corporations that seek to criminalize and surveil Atlantans, not uplift them. Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. Again, we're here because we are concerned about wellness. The wellness of ourselves, our bodies, but also our families and our communities. And we would like to contribute to the ending of violence. And yes, we're talking about state-sanctioned violence and harm that has come to Atlantans at the hands of police and others. But I'm also talking about administrative violence.
Yes.
I'm talking about using the levers of power, using the levers of government to thwart the will of the people.
Yes.
I'm talking about the idea that we should have submitted the petition minutes ago and that people are playing games. People are choosing to perverse and bastardize the democratic process to thwart the will of the people, right? We're talking about the violence of razing and bulldozing acres of thousands-year-old forests in a city whose nickname at one point began with hot in the middle of a climate crisis.
Right.
In what world does that make sense? That is violence, right? And so, again, what you are looking at is a broad section of our community who actually have solutions and who are looking for leadership and partnership from our elected officials, people who are accountable to their base, accountable to their constituents, who listen and would make sure and work to make sure that there is no daylight between them, the work that they're doing on city council and in the mayor's office, and the will and the priorities of the people that they represent. So, with that said, we're going to talk to the some of the people that city council and the mayor of Atlanta represents. I have great honor of introducing our community member, Titi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is TT. Basically, we never got the chance to vote whether we want this cop city. We don't want it. We need a chance to vote and let the people know that we don't want it. Basically, they're not going to stop killing us. They're going to keep killing us. For what reason, I don't know why. We would never know. But it's unfair to us to stand here and to keep taking the tolerance from these cops and other people that don't want us here for whatever reason. It's like they get rich the more they kill us. That's how I feel personally. So we need to make it more of a person. We don't want to keep dying like this. So please help us. Stop Cop City.
So we are about to wrap up. Again, I thank you all, and I would encourage you all to go to copcityvote.com for more information about what this looks like and what it looks like when an organized people organize themselves, their resources, their communities to push back against unaccountable leaders who mean us no good. I will hand it back over to our colleague and friend Paul Glaze, and thank you all.
I have in my hands the approved petition form. We're going to be turning in a whole lot of these. So please expect to see them, and thank you for being here today. We are now going to be opening up to some questions. I know a couple of you that I promised I'd make sure I get to. I'm going to go ahead and start with Deidre.
Yeah, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 Atlanta. Will you be taking any type of legal action as you try to get this referendum on the ballot to stop the development that'll be, ongoing for this project?
So I will be honest that the actual legal representative that will be doing things like that could not be here this morning. Our understanding is that there's a point in the process in which that kind of automatically gets triggered. So as of right now, we're focused on signatures.
you're focused on signatures, but you're confirming that you are going to try to take some legal action. Can anyone speak to that to hold the project in the interim?
Yeah, our purpose here today is to talk about the referendum. However, there are other organizations and legal entities which are still preparing and looking at different lawsuits. Everything from the use of the land to the issues of the climate issues on the land to the original owners of the land claiming sovereignty over the land. So there is a lot of other ways in which we'll continue to fight back and combat this idea that Cop City will be built. It will not only be this process and a legal process, but there is a week of action coming up in late June in which organizers will continue to be on the street. Organizers will continue to organize rallies, marches, demonstrations. Organizers will continue to do civil disobedience and direct action. This is just one lever, one important lever in a larger campaign which is still going to stop Cop City.
Can I ask Mr. Spencer, can you talk about the kind of the bureaucratic process of how this works? You turn in this request, and if you get, 75,000 votes, they are required to put it on the ballot?
Yes.
How do people sign up? How do people, if they want to sign the petition, do that?
So as said, 7 days from now, the city council has no choice. Well, not the city council, I'm sorry, the city clerk has no choice but to approve our petition. Then we're given 60 days to gather signatures. In that, the people who are eligible to vote during the last election are the folks who are able to sign the referendum, right? After we clear that hurdle, the city council has, I think, a few weeks, 50 days, to look through the signatures and to approve. Obviously, we're going to gather way more than 75,000 signatures. So, we know that their attempt will be to play games with us. So we're going to gather more signatures than needed in case they try to knock off signatures. After they clear those signatures, it goes on the November ballot for the larger population, for all of Atlanta, not just those who can sign the petition, but for all of Atlanta to be able to vote on whether or not Cop City gets built or not. And again, our expectation, based on polls, surveys, canvassing, is that the city of Atlanta is opposed to Cop City, right? As the city council, and the Atlanta Police Foundation are the really only big supporters of making Cop City happen.
This project is going to ramp up, we understand, this summer as far as construction. Your efforts, if successful, would put this measure on a ballot in November. Are you afraid too much progress will be made on this to be able to stop it in time?
And to my knowledge, we have the right to get an injunction to stop this from happening while we are collecting ballots, and we will go back in and seek another injunction once we get this on the ballot itself for the November election. So again, we do know that. We know that the city has already gone behind the scenes, backroom deals with DeKalb County to get permits they never should have gotten. Right? That's understood, that the city and will use all means, backroom dealing, to try to make this happen. And again, that's why we're going to have lawyers prepared not only to respond to the silliness that the city will probably try to do to block this, but to affirmatively go into court and protect the rights of people from Atlanta to have this on the ballot in November for them to make the final decision around if this gets built or not.
How long have you guys thought about doing this, and did the vote yesterday influence this at all? Or did you expect the vote to go the way it did yesterday?
We expected the vote to go the way it did. We understood going into this that the City Council of Atlanta is bought off. We were not thinking anything other that the City Council has been in bed with the Atlanta Police Foundation since the very beginning of this process, with the corporations and the developers. So there was no expectation that they would really do the right thing. But our role as organizers, as movement people, as folks concerned about the environment, as residents of Atlanta, is to make sure that we come to City Council and demand our rights and demand our voice be heard. but we don't leave it there.
Right.
When we know that the city council is brought off, when we know that they're not representing the people, we know that we have to go over their heads and take it to the people themselves.
Yes.
So we've been preparing this. We're ready for this fight. We know this is one of the next legs in this struggle, and we're ready to get on the ground and get moving, collecting signatures and organizing the people to stop Cop City.
And can you confirm who exactly can sign this?
Anybody who was registered to vote during the last mayoral election is eligible to sign a petition to get it on the ballot
Within the city of Atlanta.
within the city of Atlanta. Yeah. And that's one of the unfortunate things is that the people who live right next door or adjacent to this process have always been shut out of this process. They've not been given a voice in this process. They've not been given a voice by the commissioners in DeKalb County, and they certainly have not been given a voice by the people here in Atlanta, or the mayor here in Atlanta, who has ignored their concerns and their asks. And again, only over the last month has even decided to make a visit for press reasons when he saw that the narrative was completely against him. So our opportunity to do this is also an opportunity to make sure that those folks are also heard, to make sure Cop City doesn't get built in their backyard.
How long had this
Oh,
referendum?
1 second. Yes, yes,
Can you talk about what you guys have learned in the past 2 years of organizing and how that will inform the coming organizing around this referendum?
What we've learned is through canvassing and organizing and meeting and talking to people has been that once people find out about Cop City, they are opposed to Cop City. Once people hear about a militarized police training center, when they hear about the forest being torn down, when they hear about the fact that Atlanta had promised in terms of its ownership to make that forest available to the people in that neighborhood for walking trails, for camping, for folks learning ecology, for cleaning up that forest, and all those plans were ripped to shreds. Once Atlanta decided, Atlanta being the city council and the mayor and the Atlanta Police Foundation, once they decided on their own to build this monstrosity without the voice of the people, they are upset and they come out and they want to have a way to participate. So they're all not organizers and activists, right? So they're not going to come to every rally and demonstration. But this is something in their wheelhouse, right? This is something that they can do. And so we have got many promises to people that we are going to return to them so that they can have the opportunity to sign this petition. So what we've learned is that the majority of people have been against it, and that they want an opportunity to have their voice heard during this referendum process. Go ahead.
All right, I'm Amanda Andrews from Georgia Public Broadcasting. Scarlett earlier mentioned elected officials who further align with the goals of the movement, and I wanted to hear about what the plans are for organizing as far as elections go in 2024 and into 2025.
Well, we want to stick mainly with this referendum process, so let me just be clear. But a lot of folks here in their day jobs, right? We're all here as independent actors today, right? Do a lot of work in Atlanta as organizers, activists, voting rights activists. This process has helped all of us gather together when we have the proper structures to organize in unity around a progressive agenda for Atlanta. We've been taking notes. We've been taking names of those who have always been opposed and been in the pockets of corporations. Those who have lied to us to our face and told us they've been opposed to Cop City and then went and voted for it. Those who sucked up to the mayor and the corporations and developers to get their picture on TV. We've been taking notes. So when it comes time for that time, we will be ready to make sure that we remind them that our memories are long. Right? So I want to leave it at that, because this is about the referendum, but we will not forget.
Hey, Kamal, just a couple like logistical things. I'm sorry if you already covered this, but like, if you get 70,000 signatures, which you know how to organize, say that happens, is it a guarantee it gets on a ballot? And does that stop construction in the meantime? What are the logistics there?
So as stated a little earlier, yes, you are a little late. So yes, during this process, we can file for an injunction. And we plan to file for an injunction to stop the city from any activities of building Cop City. We understand that the city will try to move ahead, and so we already have attorneys. We're working with other legal organizations like the Legal Defense Fund to make sure that we're in a position to stop it from being built as the people are deciding. It is, if I might have missed part of the question, but the 70,000 people on the folks who are already been registered to vote the last time there was a mayoral election. That is our population that we have to get to sign the petition. And once we get that done, then it gets to the city council, again, looks at the signatures, and then it gets placed on the ballot. The city council and the city clerk are administrative bodies. They're not decision-making bodies really at this stage. And so, again, we expect foolishness from them, but we are prepared to go into court and to battle them. They are supposed to be plain it by the letter. This is a people's opportunity to make a decision, not their opportunity to stop the people from making a decision.
Right.
They've had their chance, they've gone the wrong way, now the people must decide. So theirs is an administrative body to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and that's their role. And if they go beyond that role, then we will be in court, and we'll be in the streets.
So is it a vote for them once they get 70,000? Is it a vote for them? Yes, we'll put it on the ballot. No, we won't. Or they don't have any. They have to then put it.
It goes on the ballot. Yeah, they don't get to decide. It goes.
Also, again, it's worth saying, this is in the packet as well, but this has happened before. This is established law. In Camden County, they did this. One woman did this out of her trailer. And you know what? We think she's badass, and we're going to do that here. But this is not something, they took that all the way to the Georgia Supreme Court, and it was verified. This is a airtight legal process that we know has been done before in places that are a lot more red than here. So we will see if people's actions match their stated convictions. But once that's on the ballot, there's nothing they can do.
When and where can people start signing this?
Once we have this back, actually, well, you want to take this one?
Once we get back the approved petition, then we will basically have a list of petitions that we go out to people. They can get mailers, they can request forms and have them sent back in. So, you know, think of it as close to being the voter registration drive. There are petitions that they'll be signing, and once we get a certain amount, we start turning those petitions in to the city clerk's office, which will again go to the city council for them to look over the signatures to make sure the signatures are quote unquote valid, and then it gets placed on the ballot in November. And a lot of this information again is on the handout that you received that includes again the case in Camden, which is our model for news.
Please go to copcityvote.com for additional updates.
How soon can you file the injunction? Can you file the injunction today, or how soon?
We can follow up with you on that. We don't have the person here who would be the point person on that. I just want to make sure we don't misspeak there. Also, yes, it is copcityvote.com.
How long had the referendum been in the works, this push for one? And what happens, say you get the signatures, what happens if in November this measure fails?
Well, again, we've been looking at this for a few months, right, in terms of the ability to bring this to bear. On its face, you know, this is not failing. So, again, every poll, survey, every time that we've canvassed, the majority of Atlantans who know about it have been opposed to it. Once it's described to them, they've been opposed to it. We are not only a grassroots organizing team, again, we are folks who are used to doing this work. The very city officials who are in that office, in those offices, some of them owe that office to some of the people behind us.
Yes.
The people who have organized, and because they believed at the time that these people were being earnest and honest.
Wrong.
So, or at least that they were going to stick to some of their word. But those folks have not done that. And so we're not contemplating failure. We're contemplating what we do when we succeed and when we have to force the city to turn that forest back over to the people, and when we stop the city of Atlanta from militarizing its police to attack our community, and we're thinking about how we protect our fellow organizers and activists who've been charged with various charges of domestic terrorism and other illegal charges, how we protect and fight for them. This is a battle for the heart of the city of Atlanta. This is a battle for our movement and for our community to stop gentrification, to stop the inaffordability of Atlanta. We're going to make this city a people's city, and this is the start of that.
All right, you've all been here for for a minute. We can absolutely make sure people can follow up with individuals, but do we have any other questions here right here before we wrap this one up?
I want to be sure I'm clear. Does it have to be actual pens of paper signatures, or can it be an online petition?
No, it is pen to paper. It is pen to paper. I gotta tell you though, we've done that before.
Can you bring around the actual filing so we can get a picture of it?
Absolutely. Anything else?
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you all so much.
Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Viva, viva Tortuguita! Viva, viva Tortuguita! Viva, viva Tortuguita! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!